Welcome to Biggest Geekus. We are your hosts. I am Joe.
I'm Randy.
This is episode 113 of our show, and the date is Tuesday, November 8th, 2022.
Did you get out and vote?
Up. Huh?
Did you get out and vote?
Obviously, because apparently this time I was supposed to vote like my life depended on it. So maybe they had someone with a sniper rifle trained on me just in case I didn't vote. So just in case that was the what they were talking about, I'm covered.
Yeah, I was. I got up at 6 o'clock this morning. I was across my street where I vote. Yeah, Green Apple. I voted first thing this morning, but I was there at 6:15, 6:20, and found out they didn't open until 7. So back home, ate breakfast, came back and voted before I went to work. It was cool. Yeah.
Well, I didn't have to work today.
Lucky duck.
So we were out doing other things, and we just swung by there as part. There was no line.
No, ours was not too bad.
Trolling. Okay, trolling says, hello, I'm not a troll. I'm just here for the D&D.
Yeah,
I would say that's the thing that a troll would say. Did you think about that?
I'd cut off his jib, dude. I don't care what you say, Harden.
Yes, hello everybody in the chat. We got DV Army here, DVR Army already here with Phone Guy. I don't see anybody else from there, so
I think trolling's part of their group. Isn't trolling part of their group?
Oh, trolling maybe. He may be.
He makes some good tacos apparently. I think he's the one. Am I remembering correctly?
Yeah, okay. Phone Guy says he is, and I heard something from my wife though. She shouted through the door. I couldn't really hear exactly what she said.
Right.
So she is probably just saying, yeah. So, yes, welcome to this Tuesday's edition. We are going to be talking about giants. Before we get into that, though, I just want to let folks know. Okay. Is that supposed to be iBlue? I3LUE.
Yeah.
So whatever that means.
Elle says I'm a little quiet. Can't hear me. Am I too far away? Is this better? Are you hearing me?
You don't sound a whole lot different to me.
I may need to get an actual microphone. Maybe this, I don't know. Every time I try, it crackles, man. But hey, Malachi, he says, no vote over here, not a single worthwhile candidate. While that's true, I'm sure that's true, we had some proposals that had to be voted on. So,
yeah, I'm not sure if any of the candidates were really worthwhile.
Right.
But, I don't want the party for whatchamahoots.
Blue check marks.
No, not even that. I can deal with blue check marks and blue hair and all that other stuff. But they want to put even our attorney general here was like, she wanted dudes that dress in drag and dance on the stage. Can't believe I can't remember that word.
What? Dudes and
drag queens. So
okay.
Yeah, we want drag queens in all of our classrooms.
Absolutely not.
These people do.
Crazy town. Crazy town.
No. They can do that elsewhere, just not in the classroom.
Hey, we got folks. Look at that. Ruby Rizu. Oh, he's DV Army. Pete Sweaty. Sweaty Pete.
Sweaty.
What's up, man? How you doing, bud? Lots of good folks in. Hey, we played D&D last week.
We did.
What'd you think of that?
We played. Huh?
We lost. We had 2 players missed. What'd you think of that session?
Well, it was kind of a mini session because we did lots of yakking before and after.
Mm-hmm.
So I had fun.
Me too. It was pretty enjoyable. We really didn't. You guys barely got on an adventure. You got a couple of quote unquote rooms in, if you want to call it that. So it was pretty good. You started down a path. Yeah, I did not. Definitely not a railroad. I threw some bait out there and let you guys pick which one you were into. So I felt pretty good about that.
You know, you might sound quiet compared to me since I have a professional mic here.
I need to get one of those. Probably.
And what we need to do is figure out a way for maybe say having Patrick or somebody else over there with you,
mm-hmm.
and me over here, and just have a tech. We test out your tech. Sure. And see where the problem might be, because we could be sitting in the same room and it's not going to be the same as you being remote. So we need someone there with you when you get a mic. But I think your issues with your mic is the fact that you have a Mac.
Really?
And you only have one port in, don't you?
I've actually got 4 ports.
You have 4? Oh, okay. Because sometimes they give you just one.
Yeah.
But are they regular USB? Are they all Lightning or what?
They're these doohickeys.
Yes. That's interesting. That's USB-C.
Right.
But it's still not regular USB. And
is that a thing?
Well, your regular desktops have a variety, so you can have USB-C, but you can also have just normal USB. But you can probably get a dongle or something to stick it in, or an adapter of some kind.
Yeah, I've got a couple of adapters, so I got a USB adapter. So
okay, so you can probably do that. The problem with it.
Go ahead. Yeah.
USB-C adapter.
USB-C to regular USB adapter.
Yeah, you just gotta. I think that maybe there might be some sort of with it being a mic and not just data transfer. It being it's just data, but it's audio, so there may be some issue.
Maybe I need to can I get like a Mac only microphone that's good?
I would look. I have no idea.
Powder Puff Nerd said, he said dongle. He did.
Dongle.
Cigar DM in the house. I think Larry Elliott's been here. Darth is here. Darth, I've heard this story. Having a degree in computers and networking, I would always advise against any Mac products that are so proprietary. I'm weak sauce though, dude. I like Macs because you like take them out of the box, plug them in, voila. You have a computer that works.
You can do that these days with laptops. Windows laptops work that way these days. They didn't used to.
No, they used to be a pain in the butt.
Yeah.
Well, I used to have the PCs, and I was a PC guy forever. You know what? And when I retire, I'm probably going to become a PC guy again because I ain't paying the cash for this Mac.
Yeah, they're overpriced these days.
Thank you, my school, for giving me this.
So beggars can't be choosers, but trying to work out your audio issues is probably going to come down to you having a Mac. Although they used to be the go-to for the AV guys.
Not so much anymore.
Well, because they weren't as proprietary at one point. They used to have multiple inputs, but as time has worn on, the number of inputs, boop, 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 has gone down.
Hell says, who is this army? Are the bots or someone that can help fight giants? They help fight losers out there that try to screw people. The DVR army is awesome. That's who they are. Friends of the show, man. Friends of the show.
Friends of the show that like to harass. What do you call them? Scam baiters. Scammers. They like to harass scammers. Well, dang it, wrong one. So L says the school wasted money on a Mac. Well, there goes education.
Oh, brother, almost everybody runs Macs at my school. So yeah.
Yeah, I think they're running on nostalgia at this point. Yes, Schweddy Pete Schweddy. They are nice people. Well, they're nice. They're nice to folks that aren't scammers.
Right. They own the school, which is great.
Imagine a school wasting money. I'm shocked. I'm shocked, I tell you.
I've been in education. Oh, good Lord. 30-ish years. I've never seen a dollar wasted.
I'm waiting for your nose to grow, dude. I mean, don't they get? They might fall into the same problem that military organizations have, because the money's not theirs. They don't generate their own money. It's given to them. So they feel they have to spend all of it, that they don't have to cut corners or try to do any kind of saving or get the best deals. They're like, what can we spend this money on? And since a lot of college money comes from either directly from the government or through loan, guaranteed loans or other types of government college money, charity type stuff, they don't generate their own funds, a lot of them. So they're like, how much money can we spend this year? If we don't spend X amount of money, we'll have less next year. Do you guys get that? If you don't spend all of your allotted money, you get less next year?
Sometimes, yeah.
The next year? Yeah, it's stupid.
Yeah, it's stupid. Oh, well. Anyway. People may want to hear some gaming stuff. What do you think?
Gaming stuff, yeah. The eyeball that's on the top of my screen here is telling me it's the number of people watching is going up and down. We're probably not talking enough about D&D. So
D&D.
All right. So we are talking about giants. Also, before we get into our main topic, you will notice in the video description a ton of links related to the show and our other stuff. You can check those out. There's an upcoming additional way you can support us. We have set up a subscribe star account. So there's a vetting process and stuff. So it's not active at the moment to take subscriptions or whatever, but it will soon. But I just wanted to give a heads up.
Righto.
So we're talking about giants, giant humanoids.
Yeah. Well, giants. And so when I set this up, Joe, gosh, I don't know from which. I feel like it was probably second edition where they had more giant types. Sublegion. And then they counted trolls and ogres and giant types, or maybe it was third edition that just called them giant types. I don't know where it was.
Started with ogre, right?
Yeah, with ogre, and then the trolls were probably the least like them.
Yeah, they're big, but they're not really. They're weird.
Looking at the second edition players, just a comment. Looking at the second edition monstrous manual, it may be the best one ever made. It may very well be.
I really think there was a big, well, not just the first one. I think Monster Manual 2 was the one that everybody really, really, really liked.
Mm-hmm. That was from Monster Manual 2 from first edition was very popular.
Yeah.
When I compare the first Monster Manual of every edition, which I have looked through to look at these giants, or all the monsters, it just seems superior in terms of ecology, fluff. The pictures are a little cartoony, but I really like them, actually. I remember they were all in color. Yeah, dude.
So you're talking about which edition?
Second
edition's first Monster Manual was
the very first. I think it was the best bang for your buck, and they arranged things a little bit better. Third edition, I think, has some better art. I think some of the editions have some cooler flavor, but overall, I think it's got the best bang for the buck in terms of a Monster Manual. But yeah, so giants. So did you get a chance to take a look at? It's interesting. One of those links, those Wikipedia links. I had
folklore.
Yeah, all kinds of folklore and giants.
Well, and some of them aren't really. So they use the word giant loosely, right?
Yes.
Because it can just refer to a tall person, like 7 foot tall. Because one of them is but depending on your point of view, if you're 5'2", someone that's 7 feet tall, I mean, we have a friend at church, and she's not much over 5 foot tall. So I've got to look like, the Jolly Green Giant to her. And so I can understand why. I mean, so many stereotypes that we are told about medieval Europe get busted on a daily basis. Or every time you turn around, you're like, they'll say medieval people were totally stupid. They all believed in all these crazy things, and they're all backwards, missing almost all their teeth, and they're 4'8" on average, and they died when they were 27.
Right.
And you're like, and then when you get some serious historians involved in looking at primary source material, you're like, oh, none of that's truly true. The other thing was they all ate completely bland, tasteless food, and
right, not true.
All this stuff, and also not true. And
Shadiversity kind of screws those things up a lot of times when he's talking about medieval times. I thought, for our purposes, the first link is more mythological and sort of the historical one, which there's all sorts of tales of giants. I didn't do a deep dive there. I was too busy with the D&D stuff, but in D&D, the D&D one, if you don't mind, I'll read this. It says, giants are humanoid creatures of great strength and size with a self-involved social focus. They often create their own societies away from the other races. All giants have low light vision. As a group, they have no other special abilities or immunities. Dwarves have a bonus to their armor class against attacks from creatures of the giant type due to their experience with fighting these oversized foes. That's a pretty broad overview of giants in general in D&D. Did you dive deep in any of the mythological histories? Because I just really didn't.
Not dive deep. There's too many of them. I mean, one thing I was surprised about, I might have heard about this, but do I still have that up? Yeah.
You want to share one of them?
Which one was it? The one, which the Fomorian giants.
Oh yeah, were those Celtic?
They may have been Celtic, and
yes, it was Gaelic.
That may have been Gaelic.
Did you notice
that Huh?
Did you notice one of them is called Baelor, leader of the Fomorians?
Oh, okay.
Or Balar. Yeah, that was interesting. Balar, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, here we go. Yeah, Baelor or Balar. Yeah. And then there's this one, the African one. It's I don't know, Mbambo.
Yep.
Also called Bumba.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yes, don't laugh at his name when he's right in front of you. You'll get you'll get crushed into powder.
You say Mr. Mbambo.
You'll say Mr. Yes.
Yeah. So giants were it's just a lot of interesting folk tale. I think D&D took its own spin on the giants. And really there's kind of this big six, if you will, that we usually see in the giant class, hill giant, and these are roughly order of power: hill giant, stone giant, frost or fire. I always forget which one's tougher, and then cloud and storm. And of course, as we go through the editions, there's some different things that I thought was interesting that came up about them. I thought each edition had some neat little nuggets that I would probably pull and use with my giants. That I thought was kind of neat. OD&D
did they kind of get smarter as they got bigger?
In general, yes. Even the great at one point in one edition, a couple editions, the mountain giant was a larger version of the hill giant, and he got smarter. So the taller they got, in general, the smarter they were.
Which is weird. I mean,
yeah.
The hill giant and the ogre are oafs, basically.
Right.
And then as you get bigger, they get average. And then up to the storm giants, they're pretty smart because they're spellcasters and they probably have a high wisdom too.
Yeah. And titans are geniuses.
Yeah. So maybe there's some kind of inverse proportionality with brain size that happens from human size to hill giant, and it makes them stupid. And then from hill giant on up, it flips again.
I don't know.
Yeah, because brain size normally the bigger your brain, maybe they're smooth.
Smoother.
Maybe the hill giant and the ogre's brains are smooth.
Yeah.
They're probably Democrats.
I have a feeling they are. If I had to bet, that'd be the party they'd probably vote for.
Sorry. I didn't mean to inject
Hard to
politics. It was too easy.
Hey, it's election day. You're allowed to inject stuff.
A little aside. I was at the barbershop today, and he had television on, and regular television. Saw one commercial or two the whole time I was there for maybe 40 minutes. And I'm like, I see more commercials watching YouTube in 15 minutes than I was there for like 45. It's crazy. I'm thinking about getting my cable back on just because I'll see less commercials.
It's kind of tempting, dude. The commercials driving me crazy sometimes. That was the big draw, right? L says, Joe, do not accuse giants of being Fetterman. Oh, dude. No, I would not want to insult giants like that.
No.
How about the D&D? How about the D&D giants? So I kind of hit the highlights of the different editions. I thought it was really fascinating. They categorized giants in OD&D as a mobile catapult. Did you get that?
They categorized them where?
In the OD&D books, they said these are. How do they phrase it?
You mean not basic expert? You mean the one before that?
The original Dungeons and Dragons, okay. Because it was so war gamey, which makes sense.
They were classified as
they're classified as mobile catapults because they were so good at throwing rocks. I thought that was pretty interesting. That was interesting because it's connected to the war game side of D&D. That was pretty cool.
It makes sense too, because a being of that size, if you ignore physics and biophysics, ignore the fact that you can't have a heart big enough that sort of being could really exist.
Sure.
Anyway, you ignore all that. They act like humanoids of giant size. They would be scarier than a siege engine because they act autonomously.
Yes.
But they would be every bit as hard to take down.
Here's the exact. I'm looking at my iPad. Here's the exact wording. As stated in chainmail, giants act as mobile-like catapults with a 20-foot range. Due to their huge weapons, all giants will score 2 dice of damage, which that was pretty significant. 2d6.
Oh, sure.
An opponent. Wandering giants, and this was cool, will carry from 1,000 to 6,000 gold pieces with them in their usual copious shoulder sack. And they say, note there are plenty. Like the fire giant is listed quite a bit of hit dice, 11 plus 3. That's a lot. They have them as being slightly better than the frost. And they give some unusual characteristics. Only 1 or 2 statements. The fire giant's impervious to fire, 2 dice plus 2 hit damage. Cloud giant, keen sense of smell. No storm giant in the original OD&D. Probably brought in later in some of the other
Probably, because it makes sense to extend that out the way the D&D mind works. We have a cloud giant. Why not have a storm giant?
Yeah, whenever we do these,
they have mountain giants, forest giants. Yeah. Probably have a river giant somewhere.
Second edition was crazy town. I mean, the number. I'll get to that, but when we do these deep dives, I don't usually go to supplementary books just because. Holy crap! I mean, this thing is 3rd edition. There's all I'm sure there are more giants in 3rd than there were in 2nd, but the core monstrous manual had a boatload. I mean, if you looked at my outline, there's a boatload of giants, and they were just in the core book. They had a slight variants of cloud giants, slight variants of others, but yeah.
I think that 3rd edition they kind of trimmed it, but they wanted. I remember when they were talking about the monster manual for 3rd. If I'm remembering correctly, they wanted to have 1 monster per page, no matter how simple the monster was.
That was the original plan. Yeah.
Yeah, but it really doesn't work very well.
Yeah.
The way that the older books had the shorter entries and multiple monsters per page really did get you lots of monsters per book.
My second favorite book, I told you Monstrous Manual we'll get to from the 2nd edition, was my favorite monster book, definitely for giants, was actually the Rule Cyclopedia. They managed to squeeze in quite a few. They had the big six, but they added the storm. So that's part of the six now. Let's call that part of the six. Mountain and sea giant. And they said the sea giants were greater and the storm were more like humans. And they talked about spellcasters for all types. Ogres were even considered spellcasters. Ogres were generally considered brutes in almost every edition of the game. And the troll was slightly less brutish, but they did have spellcasters. And I noticed it was consistent throughout the editions. That trolls were often referred to as not just hideous, but kind of this voracious. And they always ate people. And ogres a little bit too, but I kind of got the feeling that trolls were kind of considered like the most heinous of these smaller giants. That's just reading through. Yeah, that was interesting.
Mr. Max Boivin. Hey guys, you're talking about Giant DnD? That guy is a legend. Slow on the uptake here. You'll probably say who you're talking about. I'm like, oh yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, the Giant DnD.
At the moment, no, don't get it.
Yep. You are like putting whew over the head. Oh well, that's second edition. So
yeah, Monstrous Compendium is better than all. It's better than everything else.
Fair. Hey, Legion, did you get your book today? You were supposed to have. Should be coming pretty soon if you didn't get Feng Shui 2. Andre the Giant. Yes, he was the best giant, Malachi. Correct.
So, what I didn't like about Monstrous Compendium is its propensity to tear. The pages, if you did anything more than just very gingerly turn the pages once you've got them in a binder, those pages just ripped. The holes ripped out a lot. So there's always you have to put the hole reinforcers and whatnot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I did that, dude. I mentioned once before, I bought almost every compendium and a supplement, and I loved it at first. I had the 2 binders and just full of cool monsters. Then it started to tear and got annoying. And when you bought a new set, you had to if you wanted them in alphabetical order, you had to take 45 minutes to an hour placing them in the right spot. So that was kind of
it was tedious.
Yeah, it was tedious. I preferred the colored book, the Monstrous Manual. I thought that was a nice hardback. But that was their experiment going from first to second. BX didn't have much to add, in my opinion. In fact, they weren't very exciting. They just had the big 6. And again, for those that are just coming in, the big 6 are the Hill, the Stone, Frost, Fire, Cloud, and Storm. That was all that I saw in the main book. So I thought the old guard of D&D, pre-even first edition AD&D, I thought they did a nice job of describing the giants. Again, I liked Rules Cyclopedia's adding in the spellcasters to make them more of a, interesting groups and stuff like that. Then first edition rolled around, and that was the first time I noticed they mentioned something fairly significant. The Cloud Giant was 50% good, 50% evil.
Yes.
They hadn't said that before. And I always kind of liked...
For what edition?
First edition AD&D.
Okay. They were all evil back in the day, and then first edition was like half and half?
Well, back in the day, all but the Storm Giant, the Siege, there were a few good ones, but the Cloud Giant was actually specifically labeled as, I think they were neutral earlier on. You know what? I don't have to guess. I've got it right here. I'm pretty sure they were neutral earlier on in Beckme and stuff. But later on, they literally said the Cloud Giant was 50% evil, 50% good, neutral evil. The Etten finally showed up. That was always one of my favorites. I like, coming in. It's coming. I like the Etten. The Ogres, again, were considered brutes. Ogre Mages were mentioned in 1E, finally. These are the
Cyclops was at least first edition, wasn't it?
I didn't see the Cyclops, but to be honest with you, it might. I don't think it was in the first edition.
Maybe not in the Monster Manual 1, maybe been in 2 or something like that.
You might have been. That sounds about right. I'm here.
And not in the Rule Cyclopedia?
It may have been. For some reason, I just missed it. I caught it more directly in the second edition book. But yeah, I don't see it in the 1E monster manual. It's not in there, not in the one that I have. ODnD, I didn't see the Cyclops. Doesn't mean it wasn't there. No, it wasn't there. So yeah, it might have been in Beckme somewhere, but I sure didn't see it in those. Might have been in Rule Cyclopedia. Trolls were labeled as fearless in first edition. And as I said, the ogre mages were pretty tough. They had spells. Joe's had some experience with that.
Yes.
And there you go, Malachi. Thank you, sir. Monster Manual 2. Yeah, I didn't jump down them. Like I said, guys, I did main Monster Manual for every edition. I didn't look outside of the main Monster Manual.
Yeah.
So
that would be a ton of work, especially for third edition.
Holy crap! Well, I have them all. I have all 5 or 6, whatever the hell there are. There's way too many. I did notice Flady won, my dude. All Flady's giants are true, neutral, and non-binary with +5 save versus misgendering. Right on, dude. That's a good modern interpretation for a modern audience.
Right. Way to decolonize the giant.
And people, this is where I fell in love. I loved the Titans back in the day. They were sick, Joe, in first edition. They had psionics, could cast 7th level magic user spells and cleric spells. Oh yeah, and 17 to 22 hit dice. Which in first edition,
they were a mixed bag too, weren't they? Were they all good?
I think
they were a mixed bag.
I think some were considered goodish, some were neutral. They really embodied a lot of chaos because they were modeled after the Greek Titans, and they had they were known to be very have a particular emotion. Let me find it. It's a great little read here.
Because you didn't want to mess with them, even if you were good guys. They were just
you didn't want to get on their bad side. Looks like they were chaotic good. Here's the classic picture, if you guys can see that. That's classic picture of the Titan in the 1E Monster Manual. And they were they were no joke. Armor class looking at about a -2 to a -3. Psionic abilities. Because of their particular predisposition, Titans deal with storm giants amicably. So I guess they were a little better. Maybe it was later on where they talked about, maybe it was second edition where they came about with some of their rage issues, kind of trying to mimic how the Greek gods were very emotional,
Right.
And so that was kind of a thing. But I thought first edition brought the giants really to the fore. I started using them a lot. I liked, for years and even now, I think they cut that when that particular book colors a lot of my interpretation of a lot of basic monsters, because whether I remember it correctly or not, that's how I think of them. The Etten was
and giants, until you get up to the really heavy weight class ones, they're pretty straightforward brutes.
Mm-hmm.
Even the bigger, smarter ones, they are brutes. They hit you, you get turned into paste.
And I think third edition was the worst for it, because you could add. We'll talk about it a little bit how they made the monsters, the giants, even worse. And then second edition rolled in, and so I'm looking at the monstrous manual here. They were pretty boss. Look at this right here. So the mountain giant. By the way, second edition. Holy crap! I am just scanning this giant. The giant section 1, 2, 3, 4.
What? You counting how many?
17 giants in the first Monsters Manual. So all these variants. They had the Cyclops and the Cyclops skin, which were kind of the dumber, smaller brothers. They had the desert. They had the desert giant to connect to their Al-Qadim campaign, the Land of Fate.
Right.
An Etten was actually listed as a giant. Furbolg, they were kind of druidy giants. Frog giant, they were kind of cousins to the cloud giants, half good, half evil. What
Frog?
else? Fog.
Fog.
They were giant. I might have misspoke. There were giant frogs, but this is a fog giant.
Froghemoth.
The Fomorians, which I kind of thought had a cool description. I didn't know they were considered. I knew they were hideous and deformed, but they said they were extremely vile and evil in their description. I found myself going down a rabbit hole reading about the flavor part of this of these giants, and they were good. The jungle giant, which was actually a female, they were interesting because they tend to befriend humans in the area, but they're very voracious. They will hunt all sorts of animals, not people. They don't eat people, but they'll hunt like the animals to like almost extinction. They're bad about eating, but they're massive. That would be an interesting challenge if a group of quote unquote friendly giants move in to your area. It could be a problem feeding them.
Sure. It would be. That's that when you said 17 varieties of giant. If you had a world where they were all at, you used all of them,
right,
to some degree. I mean, there's ways to use them. You don't have to. You don't have to make those considerations, right? You don't have to worry about depopulation of your forest. You just have a bunch of giants.
Yeah.
You don't necessarily. Yeah. I mean, if you want to delve into that, that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, here's the jungle giant. So the jungle giant was a hot little female chick.
So, yeah, it kind of looked a little bit like She-Hulk.
Yeah, but they were 18 feet tall. She-Hulk.
Yeah, She-Hulk was only like 7.
The desert giant and they were pretty huge. Yeah. Powder Puff's got the right of it, like Jolly Green Giants. Yep.
Ho ho ho.
Yeah. But there's a whole bunch of them. What was really, I guess, so with the Titan, there were even greater Titans. I'm like, holy crap. So yeah, thinking about the Titans, these guys were. I think I wanted to look at some of this here. Let's see. Bear with me just another second.
Yeah, it reminds me the way the Titan is built is it kind of reminds me a little mechanically like the Dragon Kings,
yeah,
the Dark Sun. They were psionic magic users, and
yeah, I don't believe psionics were in the original 2nd edition core books.
Correct.
So there were no psionics, but they got a list as long as my arm of spells, and they cast them as 20th level wizards or 20th level priests.
And you're a knuckle dragger, so you got a long arm.
Yeah. And then they give you some examples of some names of Titans, about how they can have certain personalities, affinity to certain, emotions, and then rumors of a race of Titans more powerful than these. And I'm like, really? These dudes have 20 hit dice, and they hit for 7 to 42 plus 14. So 7d6 plus 14, 50% magic resistance, 25 plus feet tall, super genius, but they are chaotic good. So you mostly got to ask for it if you want to fight them.
Sure. Yeah. Minimum of 20 hit points a shot when they hit you.
Yeah, they're gonna knock the poop out of you. And then your trolls, they got a little boost up in 2nd. I don't know if you can see this. I'll try. That is 2, 4, 6, 8. This is the list. Those are 8 different columns for different trolls. Of course, I love the 2-headed troll. I also was quite fond of the spectral troll. Now, I was hoping he would drain levels, but he did not. What he did instead is if he killed you, you could come back as a spectral troll. And in daylight, you couldn't see them. They would literally disappear from existence. And when night came, they would come right back at the same spot they disappeared. So if you caught one in daylight, he would disappear.
So not just go invisible.
No,
he would
gone.
He would not be there.
Yeah. And they definitely expanded the giants and the creatures quite a bit. And they packed that monsters manual full of sweet monsters in general. But the giants were just massively.
Well, the way they do that with the tables, where they would have the different varieties and then have the general description underneath, that worked pretty well. And I know the tendency of a lot of people is to use all of them, but you don't have to. You can. It gives you lots of variety that you can inspire you to world build in a particular direction, or just cherry pick which ones you like best.
Yeah, you have to be careful. Like you said, too many giants in the world is like having too many dragons. You can't have great red worms, in every country.
You can. You just have to hand wave any kind of logical um, um, consequence because, or you just explain, okay, dragons. A lot of them eat gems instead of meat or whatever, or people. And so that's fine. And then a lot of them only eat sporadically or very rarely.
Right.
They don't necessarily eat every day, although a creature that big would likely have to either eat every day or gorge themselves like kind of like lions do, and then hibernate a lot, that's a kind of a dragon trope, is hibernating a lot, sleeping a lot.
And giants could also, dragons
They could be that way.
well, they could be magical and they could eat because they like to. Gold, they always talk about gold eating gems, but the red could eat people because they like to. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I love this too, Legion. Cloud giants live in a cloud city. So could storm giants, but they could also live under the sea. But yeah, that's actually, I want to talk about my favorites very soon. That's one of the things I really liked about the cloud giant. Third edition, they kept the big six, but they started adding levels, and they had a description of a sort of a random selection of what's in a giant's bag, and so it's kind of hearkening to some mythology. They showed an example in 3.5. I think almost every giant had an example. No, over half of them had an example of the giant, like a frost giant with 8 levels of barbarian.
Oh, adding the barbarian was the thing to do.
Yeah. Adding barbarian to an ogre was terrifying. Then they did the thing that I'm sure we're all going to love here. In 3.5, they were quite fond of giving stats for giants as characters. So you could play a hill giant, or it's like, you'd have the old ECL kick. So if you're playing a hill giant, it's probably 5 levels, and you'd be
at least.
Yeah, and then you'd be, way behind everybody until they get to whatever.
And the way that they worked with weapons. So, and of course, the sword being probably the one that got the biggest bang for the buck, as far as I'm concerned, from the sizing. Because the hill giant can use a great sword, and it would be a huge great sword, wouldn't it?
Yes.
So it would probably be 5 or 6 d6 on base damage, something like that. And then you're a character walking around doing 5 or 6 d6 plus your huge strength. I mean, it's just and then it's unbelievable. I'm a hill giant. I'm going in the dungeon. No, you're not. You're not walking through a regular dungeon. I got my great sword. I'm swinging it around. I'm a giant. No, you're not. Yeah. Not in a dungeon.
No, you're not. Side note, this connects to our game we played this past week. Max Legion of Myth says in 5e, furbolgs can mate with gnomes. The more you know. How does that relate to our last game, Joe? Remember? That dude's daughter was deflowered by a halfling?
Yeah, well,
that's not bad.
The dude's daughter, probably, he was a big dude, so his daughter might have been a larger woman. And then the dude was, halfling.
Right.
That might work.
It might work. I never said they were getting pregnant, but he deflowered her, and so he was mad, and he was wanting to get the poop out of that halfling. But I can't imagine a furbolg messing with a gnome. That's a little crazy.
Ouch time.
Yeah. So other than giving, the giants, encouraging players to want to play giant characters, they beefed up the giants. I mean, many times I used barbarian ogres, and they were bad news. Yeah, they were powerful.
Yes, we didn't want you to say rage. Oh yeah, they're raging. We're dead.
Yeah. Usually, if they were raging and I rolled a crit, whoever got hit usually died.
Oh yeah.
That's how bad it was. 4th edition had they surprised me. They mentioned frost and stone giants, but did not give them stats. They also
in 3rd edition,
in fourth In fourth. I'm into fourth. I did a little
You're
research.
fourth.
They had the main giants in the fourth edition Monsters Manual were death giants, hill giants, fire and storm giants. And giants and titans were more intimately connected. They would have a storm giant entry, and they would be the base storm giant. Then they would have the storm titan, the death giant, the death titan, the fire giant, the fire titan, which is an interesting way to compare them.
Man of War 665, Neighbor of the Beast. Hopefully the beast is doing well. Have you checked lately? I had to go digging to look. Lesser and greater, he corrected himself a little bit later. Lesser and greater Cyclops were introduced in deities and demigods in 80.
Okay. So
which makes sense because of how they're likely linked to the
Odyssey.
Greek, would be Greek mythos.
In the Odyssey. Remember that was,
what
was his name? Odysseus did his thing or whatever, yeah.
Oh, yeah, because the Cyclops had the sheep and the cave, and they had to get him drunk and all that stuff,
Yeah, but I found 4th edition was, I liked their idea of Titans and Giants being connected, and I like the idea of a Storm Giant and Storm Titan, though it got a little bit weird as they kept doing that. I was shocked they just completely left the Frost and Stone Giants out of the Monster Manual. I think that's really all I had to say about 4E. Now, 5E's rolled in, and they got a piece of uniqueness, which I think is not bad. Oh, later, Legion. Let me know
later
when you get that book, dude. The Big Six belong to a caste structure in 5E called the Ordning, and all the giants are connected in some way. They used to use that to rule the lands. Other than that, very similar sort of stuff. Ogres were greedy as normal. They called the ogre mage the Oni or the Onai.
Yeah, they were before too.
Yeah, I think that was a word they used. So, and 5E is fine. I didn't look real close at the stats. I mean, honestly, those last 2 editions interest me the least. So,
I don't know why they felt the need to add a level of fluff, but every time one of these editions gets made, they do tend to want to put their stamp on different things. And considering the structure of the company and the amount of material they're having to reintroduce, they probably have teams, and you're on the giant team, and then the people who are on the giant team have their own little thing. So it's probably not somebody directing them to do that. They probably just had their own little take.
Yeah, and honestly, our buddy Philip and a few others have mentioned the art was just less than ideal. Thank you, Mr. Max Boivin. Ulysses was the name of the character. The Odyssey is the name of the book. Righto. Thank you. That was
because it was Odyssey was it was an adventure, an Odyssey.
Yeah, that was actually the first book. No, the second book the first book I read for pleasure only. And when I was young, I got it through one of those. Remember when you were in grade school and you'd get one of those? You bring in the little booklet and you could check the books you wanted to buy. Your mom would buy you so many books.
Oh yeah, Scholastic.
Yeah. And I got that one because that was my first foray into fantasy, and I thought, ooh, Cyclops, it sounds cool. Greek mythology, and I read it all the way through. Though I think the first book that I had, that was the first book I ever read. That sounds right. And it was probably a kid version because it was in 4th or 5th grade.
Yeah, they probably, because the Odyssey, if I'm remembering correctly, was an epic poem, not in our tradition, not in our Western prose. And what was the other one? Beowulf and the Iliad.
Yeah, we read Beowulf in high school. Joe and I were in the same class. That was good. But we had a cool teacher too. Remember Mr. What was his name? Not Baker. Anyway, he had
a young dude.
Yeah, he came in on. Remember the first morning of Beowulf? It's early morning. We're all seniors. We're half asleep at 8 a.m. He comes in. He has a bear skin, shirt. He's got a trash can and a fake sword, and he bangs them together, and he starts quoting some part of Beowulf. You remember that?
I do not.
That was pretty cool.
Were we in the same English class?
I'm positive we were.
I know we had the one lady, our
Yeah.
freshman year. Can't remember her name.
The little redhead lady.
Yeah, she published my poem in the school newspaper.
Yeah, I remember that.
The
That
Christmas
was
poem.
Joe was published.
I'm published. I'm an author. Or a poet. I'm a poet. Do I get to wear a beanie?
Lady, you missed it, dude. I agree with you. I did love the leveling up of the giants. They made them terrifying. So,
as if they're not already really tough. I know in third edition everything kind of escalated, but it's really unnecessary. I think it's unnecessary even in third edition from third edition standards, because a giant, like I was saying, you don't even need to rage. They got 5d6 probably base damage on their sword. I have to look again, but I'm pretty sure.
I'll disagree on this point. I think you're right in general, but the way we played third, the way you guys min-maxed and cranked up your characters to 11, dude, I had to do stuff with the monsters to make them compete. And that was an easy way to do it. Just tack on 4 or 5 levels of fighter, barbarian.
It was easy from a point of view. If you just added the class abilities, you're good. But if you did like they suggested and completely integrate the class, all the skill points and all that other garbage, no, you just add the important abilities and you're good. And plus the hit points, because you got to give them more hit points, because why not?
Yeah. Oh,
this is a hill giant with 10 barbarian levels. He has 10,000 hit points. Good luck.
Well, but if you're 15th level characters, you could probably take him down in 2 rounds.
Yeah, a couple of hits.
I was going to say, don't forget 5 or 6 party characters at 15th level. Yeah, he's a punk guarding the lich. Let's be honest.
You just target his will save.
You just don't want him to get initiative and go first and crit.
Correct.
Then even a high level fighter dies.
Yeah.
Oh, that'll be 190 damage. What? That's his first attack. Now the second attack. Yeah. Okay. Let's talk a little bit now. We talked about how they showed up in the different editions. Now I want to talk about their common characteristics. And by this I mean the common of each type. So hill giants were basically dumb extra large ogres.
They're big bruisers. Yeah. But they were good. That was a good use for them.
Yeah, it really was. I was enamored of the stone giant. They're described many times as creative, as somewhat shy, and they love to throw rocks as sort of a game. They had some kind of game throwing rocks. It was kind of interesting. Oh, what's that? What's Powder Puff saying?
Does anybody else have this particular ailment? Powder Puff Nerd says, I start losing hit points anytime I go too long without coffee.
I think that's true for a lot of folks.
Yeah. But definitely folks start out undead. When they wake up, they're undead. They're like zombies. And then when they drink coffee, it resurrects them.
Right.
Revivifies them. They're now human.
Positive energy fills the body. Right.
They are now human again, right, and can talk to you. Because, right. My wife isn't like that.
No.
She prefers to not do too much thinking before she has coffee, but she's not zombie-like.
Oh, my wife.
But I've known people like that.
Oh, my wife is a zombie. She's like, she'll have her cup. She has this one cup with a red line around the bottom of the coffee cup and says, don't talk to me till the coffee's down here. And she's not trying to be a butthole. She really is just like not, because you know me, I get up early. You guys think, I start out in the morning like this. It doesn't take me but a few seconds. I'm awake and ready to roll. I can discuss stuff. In fact, I'll be honest with you. If I can get my players to do it, we play D&D at 9 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, if we could arrange this live stream in the morning, we'd do it too. I would be all for that.
Oh, me too.
Hey, because I wouldn't be like an hour rolls by. I'm like, what? What's a die? I don't know.
9 o'clock, I'd be rolling. Good man, Malachi. He says he coffee and meat. Meat. I gave up the tobacco a few years ago. Good man. Good
Red
man.
meat is all you need to eat.
Yeah. Cool. So anyway, so we got the hill giants are dumb ogre types, big ones. Stone giants are creative, and they tend to be shy. That's kind of weird to say that, but yeah. Um, fire giants. Oh, good man, Flatey.
Stay off them.
If you can, bro.
It's an
Fire,
order.
fire giants tend to be militaristic and ruthless. They say they often capture other creatures. I've always liked pairing them with hellhounds. I don't recall if I
Fire
caught.
giants.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it seems to happen in modules. They will capture all sorts of. They mentioned in the 2E book they'll even capture ogres and make them fight for them, which makes sense. But they're very
Ooh,
much very orderly. I always pictured
they,
them
they
being
are the white people of D&D. Let's be honest.
Let's be honest. Slavers, militaristic, disciplined, orderly, get to work on time. I believe someone made a list of that. Isn't that some of those properties of whiteness?
Yeah.
Come on.
Strong work ethic.
Oh, yes, I do.
Apparently it's very white supremacist.
Oh my goodness. So the fire giants were I kind of identify with them. I got a fiery hair, so
Yeah.
it used to be fiery. It's kind of turning gray now.
And don't look in his basement.
Do not go down there. Frost giants, they were more of a barbaric culture. They were raiders type raiders. Then you had the cloud giants. And I'm saying these characteristics were generally the case throughout the editions, though first through fifth did a better job of describing than the old D&D books did, especially OD&D. That was like, you've seen the OD&D book. That was like a paragraph. That was it.
So could you say the cloud giants were kind of Viking?
Not
kind of Viking take?
I think they're a little more sophisticated. They said they were smart and tactical. They had flying guardians, such as wyverns and stuff, though I preferred rocks, and a common mixture of good and evil. So they were closer to almost like a human society. And like,
I think Vikings being not very smart or sophisticated is another one of those tropes, because I saw this program. I don't know on what channel. They said that now they may have started that way, but after they raided so many places and intermixed with the various groups around them that they would go take things from, they eventually calmed down and became merchants.
Yeah, I wouldn't say Vikings were stupid. I would just say that they were pretty. I mean, the shows, the crap that I've seen about them, they were pretty violent.
Yes,
so they were kind of barbaric. Flatey,
right.
Yeah, Vikings were not stupid. Fair enough. I'm not saying they are. Flatey's caping up for the Vikings. That's cool. But they
were sophisticated in their way. They had their rituals and they had their culture. I saw the Northmen.
That was
Or is that Viking? Were those Viking like folks?
People raved about that. I didn't care for that movie.
I couldn't get into anybody because they were all evil.
Yeah. No, thank you.
No. Well, at the very least, you could call them bloodthirsty.
But I mean, I would not see cloud giants. Cloud giants are more. When I say sophisticated, I mean more not cosmopolitan. They kind of would be more. What's the word I'm looking for? Cultured. They would
more Roman.
They would get along with human, civilized. That's the word.
I remember the illustration of the cloud giant. They were more in a Roman-esque or Greek-esque building with columns. It looked like a big Roman.
Well, there's the second edition one. There you go.
Yeah, so there's toga like.
Yeah, exactly. They're generally, their ecology is described as trade with humans and demi-humans, communities for food, wine, jewelry, and cloth. They have some have good relations with the communities. They are definitely more into appearance and dress. So I wouldn't call them, barbaric in any fashion.
Ooh. Nobody likes undead giants except Randy.
I like undead giants
because they're scary.
Oh,
imagine a 15-foot tall vampire. I mean, that would be or a mummy.
15-foot tall vampire. Noted. Duly noted, Joe. Storm giants tend to be solitary. That's common. They did say they live on cloud castles, but I always pictured cloud giants. What's up,
Indigo? I always want to say Indigo.
Yeah, I know.
Like Princess Bride. Indigo.
And the storm giants always were magical, casting lightning bolts, doing spells. They often had good relationships with cloud giants as well. So, were Asiatic looking? No. Who were?
The cloud giant. Oh, okay. He's referring to his. I think this is a continuation of his earlier post.
Oh, the
cloud giant 1A, 1E DnD. Are you trying to say Asiatic?
Yeah,
I don't
remember that.
That's more the ogre mage.
Yes.
Ogre mages were the Oni were Japanese, had a Japanese flair.
Oh, I see. Oh, look at this. I would say this is closer to Indian, like Eastern Indian. Look at that. It's a 1E one.
Yeah.
Maybe. They got the columns there, which reminds me of Greek, and they're dressed in the robes again. So
he's got a kind of a suggestive pose there.
He being a little sexy, is he?
Yeah, trying.
You like my sweet little earring? Got an earring in there.
From the neck up, you're kind of like, oh no.
Yeah. But the storm giants were definitely the powerful ones. They were the ones with spells and magic, maybe even friends that were dragons. They lived below the sea. So I always thought they were, but they're also good. Storm giants were generally good. They wouldn't, Man of War, don't worry. We will not hold it against you. He says he's feeling a bit tad punchy. That's okay. Anyway, I definitely thought those were pretty clear throughout the editions. Ogres were not very interesting anywhere. They're useful because they're big, dumb.
Very useful, yeah.
Trolls, multiple attacks and regeneration. That was kind of their theme.
Mm-hmm.
Titans, high hit points and spellcasters. They were really, that was kind of, to me, the consistency I saw throughout the editions. Did anything pop up to you as you were looking at these as something I might have missed for these main giants here?
I don't think so. Mainly because they were a staple.
Yeah.
Especially once you got close, at least to 5th, 6th, 7th level, then giants weren't so terrifying, but they were still dangerous.
Yeah, you had to be careful. You do not want to be surprised. Look, we got 5 giants to fight.
Yeah.
I think I always I did it with you guys already in the low level game we're playing before you guys leveled up. I brought in an ogre. I liked it, and you guys killed it, but it was scary. I mean, it really was. Had it made a decent hit on anybody, it would almost kill you.
I was gritting my teeth because I was like,
I love for an ogre to be in a low level adventure, even first level. I like it to be that creature that you're close to, and only if you're going to be on pure bad luck or just because you choose to be around it. I always thought they were interesting as a really scary thing. And usually what happened, the players would run or avoid it, and then by the time they got to 4th or 5th level, they would say, let's go kick that thing's ass. And then you would do it. So
yeah, I mean, if you're first level and there's a giant or an ogre, even just an ogre, and you don't run, either you're playing 5th edition or you're really doing it wrong. Even 3rd edition, you didn't want to. First level characters really couldn't take on an ogre.
Now with their strength modifier and their critical and they critted. Oh, no. You want nothing to do with it with an ogre.
Just orcs. Yeah. You get an orc as a first level party, and orc you had to worry.
Well, the truth is in BX, orcs have like 6 to 8 hit points, and they attack at +1, and they do a D8 damage. So you may not want to fight those. You don't want 5 or 6 orcs is a fight for a first level party in BX.
Right. Well, I was referring to 3rd edition.
And 3rd edition is probably death on the stick.
Yeah, because you just give them a great sword. They have +2 damage always, at least, and +2 to hit, +2 damage. You're going down. Someone's going down.
Someone's when they hit D12 +2, somebody's done.
Something like that.
And if they crit, it's over.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think? We talked a little bit about it. Patrick's question. What does L say? Patrick had a question.
Oh,
how big?
Yeah. So, how big does it have to be a giant? Well, I don't. In the monster manual, at one point, one of the editions, it might have qualified it, but I don't think first edition or second edition really did.
No, I think your best bet would have been third edition. I'm looking at the 3.5.
Because ogres are the smallest giant?
I believe so. There were types.
What about a Fomorian or a Furbolg? Are those bigger or smaller than an ogre?
They're ogre size.
So they're ogre size.
Yeah,
so
there's something called a Verbeeg, is about 7 feet. There was something called a Furbolg, which is between 7 and 10 feet. I think.
So starting at 7 feet.
Yeah, roughly. But that's not really. That was not defined to my knowledge. I'm looking up monsters by types. Okay, here they go. Not giants. They list them as. This is dumb. Etten, giants, ogre, mage, troll. So they literally don't tell you a description in words. They just put monsters under it. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. For me, a giant is once you get outside of, it's a humanoid that's really kind of, 2 arms, 2 legs, looks roughly humanoid, 1 head.
But not human. So a 7 foot tall human is not a giant.
Not to me. Now, if a human got to 8, I think I know that the tallest human was probably 9 feet-ish, but if we just say today's rough sizes, anything over 8 feet is for sure. If it's not a human, if it's just a humanoid, is a giant.
Right.
Cal would not. Yeah, I agree. Andre the Giant would not qualify to be a giant in D&D, but absolutely he would qualify as a giant version of a person. Same for
how tall was he?
Andre, I believe he was 7'2".
And he was massive as well.
Oh, ridiculous! Yeah, he was right. Unbelievable.
So I think a D&D giant is not only just tall and massive, but they have some other features like the low light vision.
David Gow.
Go ahead.
Third edition, a giant is humanoid shaped creature of great strength, usually at least large size.
Right.
Okay.
So, right. So, I mean, an ogre, stat-wise, is just a big, broad human with low light vision, right, on the surface. Yep. But more than likely, let's say if you were trying to get deeper into it, there would probably be other biological differences if you did an autopsy, let's say, or a dissection. So there would be differences, and they would be differences enough that humans and giants really couldn't mate, and all of that. They're gonna have differences. And if you had a blood sample, it would probably look different. The blood would look different-ish, and would look different under microscope. The DNA would probably be somewhat different, if it had DNA. It's a fantasy creature. So
here's a 3/5 ogre. 29 hit points, 4 hit dice. Homie had a 21 strength, and considered a challenge for 4 characters of level 3. Doing 2d8 plus 7 average damage. At plus 8. That's pretty painful.
2d8 plus 7?
Yeah.
So that's 16 points on average?
Yeah. Martinson says Andre was 7'4". Okay. Larry Elliott asked a very important question. What about the New York Giants? Are they really giants? Well, I think they're 6-2, so that's pretty good so far.
Yeah. It says giant on the banner, so they must be.
So I think we talked a little bit about this. What about the ecology or influence of the monster? How should we use this best in our campaign?
Well, it depends on how deeply do you want to get into it.
Yeah.
So if you're running modules, probably not much. it might make your dungeon more interesting if you had some. For me, it's less is more.
Yeah.
So the DM, like from your side, you might write up a bunch.
Yeah.
But the players are only going to see little bits and pieces of that.
I think these may be, Malachi asked, what about the San Francisco Giants then? I think those may be gay giants. Is that true?
The Rainbow Giants.
Rainbow giants. I think biblical thing, Powder Puff asked, how big was Goliath said to be? I believe he was
9 feet.
Was he?
Yeah.
Now he had some brothers and family members that were taller. He wasn't the tallest of the giants. Boivan says 9'9". I'll go with that. 9'9", Alex.
Right. So he's just a few inches short of the rim on a basketball goal.
Holy crap, 3 inches short. My goodness. I always thought giants in a campaign, for me, giants would be an apex predator. There wouldn't be a lot of things that would ever even consider hunting them. I think
it wouldn't be worth it.
No, even if you could win, they're hardly worth it. There are some creatures that might. I like the idea of, what's this? What's Al asking? Ecology. So, Randy, what trail signs do you look for to identify a giant in the area? Tracks, scat, nesting. Yeah, the scat would be profound. Something big's pooping.
What are these random puddles? There'd be, trees pushed over and stuff. They're giant footprints. I mean, it's not like they're going to go quietly.
Larry Elliott's got it. Down trees.
Down trees.
Depending on the size of your giants. I like Ardman's take in his world. He says giants tend to inhabit their own island nations, isolated from mankind. Those encountered in Maine world were placed there or were special cases. Yeah, I think it's one of those things where people would be on the lookout if giants show up. I mean, it wouldn't be, oh my God, it wouldn't be like, oh my God, there's a dragon, but oh my God, there's a giant. Wouldn't be far behind that.
No, wouldn't be. And your walls around your city
would all of a sudden become useless. You would need adventures. I mean, if a tribe of hill giants moved into your region, you need a group of adventurers stat.
So on the ecology side, and what you're getting at is what are some logical conclusions you can make with regard to your world with giants there, right? What would happen? How would that impact? How would that? So if the real world all of a sudden there were giants, or there were giants, mm-hmm. would there be, let's say, large cats like lions and tigers? Would there be elephants? Because giants might hunt them to extinction, or might occupy their niche in a well, they wouldn't occupy an elephant's niche because elephants just eat leaves, but lions and tigers, and bears, oh my, they might, like the hill giant, might occupy that niche, but because of their higher intelligence, they might just do other things. So I would say you're better off just picking a couple of things that happen instead of getting too deep into it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'm not looking. Oh, exactly. I think Indigo Dragon brings up a good point here. He said mastodons instead of elephants. Yeah, if you have a part of your world, if you have a secret, what's it called, a lost world type place where you have dinosaurs and crap, giants would fit in great. Because
they would.
They could be the main. I mean, it would be interesting if you had a whole region that maybe was magically cut off from the rest of the world, or just a big island like Ironman, and maybe there they have lots of prey that's big. And the balance is the giants take the role of the humankind. That is, they're the hunters. They hunt these things down and they eat them. And maybe they have their own political issues with other giants in the region. Cloud giants, of course, and storm giants could be up in the sky. They wouldn't have to affect things, and they're magical, so they could get food all sorts of ways.
And because they're magical, you could handle them differently.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
I think for the land-based ones, you're better off having they have their part of the world, like the islands that Arnman was talking about. But it would be also fine for them to have a geographical location, like the far north or the far west, this desert, or this jungle or something like that. This is the giant. The giants stay here.
Mm-hmm.
For some reason, they like it here, and
Plentiful
they
food.
don't.
Plentiful food with the dinosaurs around.
Right. So and then that's it. If you see a giant outside of their normal domain, there's something going on, or maybe they're looking for slaves because they're colonizers. They are the stand-ins for whites, like we were saying earlier.
Yeah.
But right. So you don't. It's not like you're going to have giants around every corner.
No,
It's not a good idea.
it's hard to even. Isn't it hard for you sometimes to picture giants, in a dungeon, like your standard dungeon?
Okay, so the way you would have to do it is it would be like the Underdark when you get. So the standard dungeon, no way, right? Because they just couldn't get around. They would have to have like separate egress from a particular room that's different from the rest of the dungeon, or it's so far underground that it's the Underdark, and then there's giant caverns and giant passageways and stuff like that. Because I'm pretty sure the Underdark has pretty big creatures like the Umber Hulk and Roper and some other things that are pretty big. So you could probably have ogres running around, but nothing that much bigger.
Yeah, Flaty's got the right of it here. I like where you're thinking, Flaty. Peeking my head back in, anyone like to mess with the table when your players are higher level? Like after they slay the giant, a gargantuan dragon swoops in to claim the kill and its horde?
That would be awesome.
Great. That is awesome. Especially if the giants just beat the living crap out of the party and they won by the skin of their teeth. Then some huge red comes in and says, "Thank you very much. I'll take this." And the party's like, "Oh, we want to kill you." But
it would be a dick move, but funny.
It would be odd. Well, that would give you a reason to get, especially if you had a little hint at like, this giant is supposed to have this cool item. He's had it for hundreds of years. And you kill this whole giant. Yeah, we're going to get this cool item. And the dragon's like, I was waiting for this. And you're like, oh, now you got to go kill the dragon. Oh, they would, though. That dragon would be number one on their hit list. You better believe it. My players would. They would not let that would not fly.
But did you note he said gargantuan dragon?
Right. Just a
So that's a great worm, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean,
depending on your level,
it's probably like your down the road foe.
Yeah.
You got to be
like 8th level characters, and you just beat down this fire giant chieftain and 3 or 4 of his lackeys, and you got this lair, and you're about ready to clean up, and boom, in comes this gargantuan black dragon that says, they were an annoyance for a while. Thank you very much. Now, piss on off, and I'll take this.
Now, it would be this is how it would be even more cool.
Once.
You do it only one time. But what if the players needed, like you said, if you get this item, you'll be able to save the world. And then you had that, and then you did that. You're like, well, we can't beat that dragon. What are we supposed to do? So then you'd have to figure out a way of getting it without defeating the dragon in direct combat, which might even be more interesting.
Well, Flaty's got it. He says this gives a good backstory for a dragon foe, and maybe he won't be evil. Maybe it's a one of those kind of chaotic, fun little dragons that are chaotic neutral. If you pull out one of the gym dragons, right? One of those psionic dragons that shows up, but he's gargantuan, so he's ancient, and he's like, man, this guy's been harassing me forever. Thanks, guys. And tosses like 2 bags of gold. We need that item. Oh no. That's an artifact. I'm keeping that. But you guys can move along now. And he tossed you a few thousand gold pieces. He's being cool in his mind. And then you're like, man, we got to make something. You can't kick his butt because you just got beat down and you're not high enough level. And he took the widget that you needed to save the world. And he takes it, throws it in his, his little portable hole he's got hanging in his back. Yeah.
I didn't know this. Flaty says bears do it all the time to wolves and lions and hyenas. That's pretty cool.
Oh.
I mean, the bear comes in and says, hey, thanks, bud. And they're like, dude, I can't. I'm going to die because.
What are you going to do?
Like, get good, scrub.
Dude, let me tell you this story. That reminds me, this week, side note on animals, you know who is a total BA? Is a hippo.
Oh, yeah. You don't want to mess with it.
There was a pride of lions around a watering hole during a drought. Homeboy just walks in and plops in the center and says, what up?
Hold on.
Yeah.
What Flady meant to say was lions do the same thing to hyenas.
Right.
Yeah.
Dig this. Oh, look at that, Mr. Elliott. Good thing. Just got a giant goodnight hug from granddaughter. Awesome.
Oh,
Very nice. Yeah, they are insanely brutal. So this hippo, Joe, this lion comes. So the first hippo I told you about just sits in the water, and the lions they're getting, the ladies are, because the lion pride is usually the females hunting. They're getting a little worked up, and they're like, "Dang, we can't kill this thing." So they and then so this big male lion gets into a fight with the hippo. The hippo bites the dude on the head, has his head in his mouth, and is ragdolling that lion. And I'm like, holy cow. Then he gets free. Of course, the lion's like, he just takes off, right? And I'm like,
sure.
That is a full-grown male lion, and that huge hippo just ragdolled him.
And they're like 900 pounds?
They're like, more like 2,000. They're huge.
I mean, the lion?
Oh, the lion's there, yeah.
Like around 900 to 1,000 pounds, full-grown male, ragdolled.
Yeah. Yeah, hippos are they big boys. Oh, they're measured in tons.
Hippos. Yeah, tons.
So yeah, but the lions aren't bad yet. But anyway, I agree, Darth. He says honey badger will steal the kill from lions and leopards. I got a feeling he won't from hippos. The same hippos smashed a saltwater crocodile. So yeah, nobody wants none of the animals want to mess with the hippo. You don't want none of that big boy. So yeah. Anyway, sidetrack. Who's your favorite?
But it's a giant monster.
Yes,
so you can easily take some cues. All of this is cool stuff that's in the chat that you can use as a DM to take cues from.
Yeah.
Like, who was it that started this whole thing off? Was it Flady? That's about the kill steal? Was that Flady or was that Max? Or was that Max?
It was Flady. Flady. I think Flady did.
So the kill steal, I don't think you've ever done that. Have you ever done that?
I don't think I have. I really should, because that's kind of a cool thing. I shouldn't do it all the time, but I should do it sometime, because that would really
my wife
guys off, and you guys would go after it hard.
Having the annoying foe that seems to always get away kind of thing is something that my wife did for a while, and that was not fun after a while, because you're like, got away again.
Yeah. Well, but you get a foe that can turn invisible, fly, or teleport. He's hard to wrangle.
What can you do?
He's hard to wrangle.
And you're smart, so if they know that you're dangerous, they're not going to sit there and take it on the chin.
No,
if they can get away.
Dude, if they're smart, they're just, as soon as you show them, and if you thwart one of their plans like twice, they're gonna be like, okay, I don't want to mess with these guys solo. So every time you get through his lackeys, even before you do, he's like, later.
Well, this was a lackey.
Oh, okay.
And so it was even worse. We can't even catch this lackey. We suck. Anyway, yes, that would be. Just imagine you get through one of the roughest fights with a giant or three, and then a dragon comes and.
That's brilliant.
I would just have to laugh.
I would say D&D wise, Flady just won the chat tonight.
Yes, thank you, Flady, for some interesting chat and an awesome idea. Now I'm going to be looking for it to happen all the time.
I have to play keep it on the down low till Joe's not ready for it.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think what's your favorite giant? I got two favorites. What's
Storm giant?
Really?
Probably Storm giant.
Why do you like them so much?
Well, they're good. They're good. They're the good guys.
Okay. You like the good guys?
If it's as an opponent,
whoever, that's fine.
It's hard to put your finger on a particular giant type, because they're so similar. I mean, fire giants are just big giants. They're bigger giants, and they have employ some other tactics, and they are immune to fire. But
yeah,
they're just giants.
Yeah, I think for me, any of those giants, fire giants, ogres, trolls, hill giants, they're great if they're going to be foes to fight. Mm-hmm. If you want something interesting, though, for my money, if you want something interesting, I love the stone giant. Here's why. First of all, they're creative. Second of all, they're a little smarter. They don't have to be fought all the time. They can be reasonable. They could be loose allies, potential enemies on how you deal with them. In that rock tossing game, or the fondness for rock tossing, how cool would it be? They tend to do this at night. If you're traveling through a mountain pass at night and you hear this boom, boom, boom sound, and it's stone giants tossing these rocks around, and one of them accidentally hits you, or they see you and they go, "Hey, friend, catch."
That would be a really dumb giant doing that, but yeah.
Well, it could be. He could be an idiot.
Because
or it could be because they're not really good or evil. They're like, let's see if these guys are worth worrying about.
I will say, no, I'm not going to catch it. I'll step to the side.
Elle says, looking at the Palladium photos, does Randy count as a giant? I'm not. Joe and I are pretty big in our friend group. Are we the tallest? Larry Newman's about our size.
You posted there are some Palladium photos posted somewhere?
We showed them a couple weeks ago on the podcast, I think. Or at Max's Legion of Myth, we showed some.
Oh, okay.
I should post some on the Biggest Geekus, but yeah, possibly. And I love the Cloud Giants just because they're mystical. They like to they like to work with communities. I always think they're very interesting in terms of living up in the clouds and this castle and this different sort of world. I think that's enough to grab my attention. Notice I picked two giant types that are not necessarily, you don't have to fight.
Right. Yeah. It's hard to deal with a hill giant, but still, you might not want to fight them. You would have to run. Like we ran from the second ogre.
Right.
Because there was another ogre coming, and instead of waiting for them to come there and then kill us, which is probably what would have happened, we ran.
You're saying I put 2 ogres for low-level characters?
Well, we're assuming the other one was an ogre. Right. It might have been something else.
It might have been.
But
you've not seen him yet, so.
I have not seen him. So it might have been another sort of giant, but the one we killed was an ogre.
Yeah.
Barely.
Yeah.
But we barely killed it. Not that it was barely an ogre.
Right. I definitely like those, the stone and cloud giants for the interesting factor. But day to day, I want to put a giant in an adventure. Ogres are top. I would also say, trolls, and then of course hill giants. Those are those are ones you're going to see more of. Fire giants are more of an event. Frost giants are more of an event. And then of course cloud and stone giants. So the stone giants maybe. I mean, Flady makes a comment back a little bit. He says he likes to use stone giants as disposable. You can, depends on how they are in your world. I like them to be a little more intellectual, a little bit smarter, but very wary of non-giant folks, but not immediately violent. So we thought we'd end this like we had before, have some alternate takes on using the giant in your world.
Alternate takes, yes.
Yeah, let's kind of end this discussion. You want to go back and forth? You give one and I'll give one. Did you get 3? How many did you do? Or did you just do one? Or did you do any?
I wasn't aware that I was supposed to provide it.
Oh, then don't worry about it. I've got 3. Would you like me to talk about mine?
Okay, why don't you do one? I will
read the other.
This is what I will do. I will read them and you go into detail. How about that?
Go ahead.
So your first alternate take is from Arcana Evolved. Mm-hmm. Hopefully folks know what that is. It's from back in the day around 3rd edition, toward the end of 3rd edition or the middle. I can't remember precisely when Arcana Evolved popped in. Around the middle. Anyway, the giants of Arcana Evolved were once the dominant race and nearly ruled the realm. It could be that they seek to regain that dominance, which could lead to a war. A war with the giants is epic. So yes, the giants of Arcana Evolved are not the same. They are more sophisticated. They're basically big humans.
Yes,
because they're intelligent, and so yeah, they went in decline as rulers. But I think at the outset of the campaign for Arcana Evolved is they're trying to regain that status.
my idea was it doesn't have to be that particular setting, but the idea of the giants once having ruled and they're trying to regain their dominance. It could be that you have one race of giants like an Arcana Evolved. It could be you have all of them, and maybe the cloud giants are like, man, it sucks that we have so few of our numbers left. We need to retake this world and rule it. So he starts to gather his forces, a la sort of against the giants, where the drow are secretly, oh, spoiler alert, the drow are secretly riling up the giants. Maybe the cloud giants are getting all the other giants, trying to organize them all. The storm, not the storm giants because they're good, but oh heck, if you don't want them to be good in your world, let storm giants be.
There's no reason they can't. They have to be good. They just are. The base ones are. You can change it, no problem.
Yeah. So that was kind of my idea, because just the idea of a war with giants just sounds awesome. I'd mentioned before that we were in Rise of the Rune Lords. We were in book 4, and giants play a pivotal role. And Joe was very sure that we were heading to a war. And the book didn't have that, but easily I could have, because remember that lair you guys broke into? That was a giant's lair. There were tons of them. That could have been. They definitely were getting ready for war. But the characters in the way the adventure was intended to go was for them to put a kibosh on the war plan. But I think they attacked Sandpoint, so you guys defended Sandpoint and hunted them back to their lair. That's pretty. I think that's a pretty cool way to do them, so that they're more of a main foe, and they can all either be one race or they could be a bunch of different ones coming together to kind of reassert their dominance.
Right. And you can even get a copy of either I got some noises going on here. You could either get a copy of Against the Giants or Rise of the Rune Lords and adapt that easily. No, I didn't get the right one. Oh, there. That's why.
Yeah.
All right.
Want to read the second one?
Yes. Consider a world where the giants are truly rare and enigmatic keepers of ancient lore. From time to time, PCs could be tasked with seeking out a reclusive giant to gain some piece of ancient or esoteric knowledge. This could be both dangerous and or lead to another quest to satisfy the giant.
So giants would be rare in this place. They would have either died out or just be a few of them, and they would all be keepers of knowledge. So you wouldn't have in my mind, there wouldn't be very many hill giants. If there is one, you would be an oddball, and you would be a hill giant type shaman. And people would look to them as like, oh, if you want to know that mystery, you should ask one of the giants from back in the days when the giants used to be more prolific, and they maybe giants are long lived as dragons. Maybe they're immortal. Maybe they only die if they're actually through violent means. They'll live forever, or maybe they just get really, really old, live 3,000 years. I always said that would be neat. Where they're an impetus for an adventure. So you go there to find this piece of information, and the stone giant, who is practically, he's sitting on a chair. He's been sitting there for a long time. He's practically a part of the mountain. And you talk to him, and he's like, hey, I will tell you this, but I need you to first go down to the Underdark, because the stinking Umber Hulks are just bugging the crap out of me with whatever they're up to. They're doing some sort of shenanigans. Somebody's gathered a whole, gaggle of Umber Hulks in there, and they're messing with the stone giant's layer below the surface. And so he needs you to take care of them. Then he'll return and give you the piece of information. Once you do that, then he'll give you the piece of information that you want. So I see them as an impetus for a quest, or impetus for even a campaign, depending on how involved you want it to be.
Right. You could always do one of these things, of these different takes. I know that there was a Cyclops in Krull. Now, was he the last of his kind or something like that? It was a different take on a Cyclops. It wasn't just an evil human eater type thing. He was fairly noble and all of that. So it was a little different take. If you haven't seen Krull, you should. It's not the best movie ever, but it's definitely a fun romp. And,
got a D&D feel to it.
Yes, very good D&D feel to it. And the Cyclops they had in there was a different take on that particular beast.
Yeah.
Your third, consider a setting wherein the depredations of giants are is a real worldwide threat. They are consuming all the world's resources, growing almost exponentially or so, growing exponentially in number is what you mean, not like
Yeah.
size.
Mhm.
Or so voracious they must be stopped. Oh, that would be some kind of adventure. Or campaign. That wouldn't be an adventure. That
That'd
would
be a
be a long campaign.
That would.
Perhaps giants are the precursors to the coming of the Titans, mysterious masters of the giants from another world. Something akin to Pacific Rim, the movie, or Greek mythology, where the Titans may challenge even the gods. Pacific. Oh, okay. So in Pacific Rim, you had the kaiju. The kaiju came up from the ocean.
Yes.
So they weren't like alien. They weren't aliens.
No. They were actually from another world, another dimension. They came from the ocean, but there was actually a place called the Breach.
Oh, right.
It was actually a portal. So I'm to me, I'm picturing the Titans being them. And I got this idea because I watched Pacific Rim this past weekend, or at least 2/3 of it before our power went out. And I thought, wow, what if the Titans were more mysterious from another world? And the giants had already and the Titans had decimated their home world. They needed more resources. So because being magical, they could create a portal and send their giants through. The first giants they send through are just ogres and trolls, just to get a feel, do some damage, see what the defenses are. And they increase them as they go. And then they send in creatures like, you could pick giants, and you can't imagine giants being too sneaky, but cloud giants and storm giants have magic, so they could be more sneaky, and they can be doing more subtle things hidden up in the clouds.
And the ogre mages.
Yeah, the ogre mages. There you go. So they would have it would become potentially a war. And once you realize, holy crap, these titanic creatures, these titans are coming through, and they're planning to just basically rape the whole world, take everything from it. And maybe the gods would even, step in and say, any holy characters that you need to do this. This is dangerous. These titans are near our power. We can't come down and fight them. If we do, we'll destroy everything. We might beat them, but you'll all die. You know what I'm saying? So that could be that could be a high level campaign.
Sure. Campaign. Another good thing you could take from Pacific Rim is that whole body part market.
Yeah, that would be cool.
You could also do that with any sort of gigantic beast.
Yeah.
If there's lots of them and dragons, you could have some sort of underground body part market.
I think if I were to run a campaign like that, I would be inclined to make the giants more monstery and less human-like. They would have humanoid forms, but I might take something from the Fomorians and make ogres and trolls and hill giants super deformed. Storm giants may have a real alien look to them, sharp features, not look quite normal. Yeah, that would make that kind of fun, I think.
Yes, this is Cal has the perfect way to introduce the entire campaign. Is the giants come and they kick sand in our faces at the beach, and then that starts it. It's on now.
It's on, dude. Oh man, did you have anything else you wanted to add, or I think we smacked the giants around pretty good tonight.
Yeah. I think that on the one hand, having too many giants in your world kind of breaks verisimilitude. If you're concerned with it, if you're not, no big deal. If you want to have a storm giant in the middle of your dungeon, even though there's no way for it to get there, that's fine, whatever. But this last, or these alternate takes or different things that you can do with the giants, you can lean into that. There's lots of giants, and it's causing a problem.
Indigo Dragon's got a sweet one. A giant falls from the sky and kills everyone in the town. Yeah, dude.
Splat.
And then a cult of worshipers comes to collect giant parts. Pacific Rim, yeah.
Sure, you could do all kinds of different takes on how that market would work, cultists or whatever. You could depending on how long this lasts and what level your characters are. I mean, your characters could become that market. the marketeers. Hey, we got body parts. They do these things.
Yeah, that would be cool. That would be. I think giants have a plethora of uses. That's why they're kind of, to me, they're a top 5 monster. We talked about early on in this Monster Mash, we're going to be ranking these dudes. Giants have, if they're not top 5, they're top 10 for sure. I mean, they're so cool, so cool, broad appeal to me. And you got them for lower level characters all the way up to the, I mean, I don't know about 20th level characters, but pretty high level characters could be fighting giants. You add a few magic user levels to your high powerful giants, things get interesting.
Yeah, just barbarian's bad enough.
Yeah. But if you decide to
wizard or sorcerer,
let your cloud giant be a 12th level sorcerer. Now you got some trouble.
Right. Because you can't just walk up to him and, you're a sorcerer and you're weak. I'm going to put my sword through you. No. He doesn't. This wizard doesn't need a bodyguard. He's his own bodyguard.
Yeah. Indigo came in with that idea, Giant Falls, and challenged Flady, but I'm still going to give Flady the win.
Yeah.
Well, that was pretty good. All right. You want to tell them to do the things? It's time to do the things.
We're going to do the things. Okay, and we're going to display. David Guile gifted us with some artwork. So subscribe.
Nice.
We finally have our own subscribe graphic, thanks to David Guile. He did a really good job. I mean, it has kind of a old, like he dug this up out of the ground from the Greeks.
Yeah.
Biggest geekest kind of thing.
Yeah. Nice.
But he did a good job. He didn't initially make it transparent, so it was had a big white background.
Mm-hmm.
When I get graphics off the internet and I want to give them a transparent background, I have to sometimes do a lot of work to erase lots of junk around the borders of the images. But his is very clean, so he did a really good job.
Yeah, David, I bought his Dungeons and Delvers. Indigo is pimping it. Bruce at Dick's Division has been pimping it. He's still doing videos on it. It's a sweet looking little book. Let me rephrase that. It's a sweet looking, awesome book. And
it's not little by any stretch. It is a giant of a book.
It's giant, yeah. And I just started reading it. Hold on, dude. I'm getting pounded. Give me a second. Jeez.
All right. So this is one of the ways if you're not able to or don't want to contribute to Biggest Geekus financially, this is a good way that you can help us out by sending us a graphic, because we kind of need I'm forgetting words left and right tonight. We need a graphic for Big Geek Emporium, right? We don't have what I have is a B, a G, and an E, and that's what's in that's the graphic for Big Geek Emporium. So there's a word that I'm forgetting to use.
While you're thinking,
graphic.
Let me read this. Go ahead. You got it? You got it, Joe, or should I read it?
Go ahead.
Randy and Joe, do you guys monitor the Big Geek email? Joe normally does. I'd like to bat an idea at you guys. You send us the email.
He said use.
Use. Absolutely. You send it, Joe will check it, and then he'll send it to me, because I probably won't check it. But you know what? I will start checking it too, because if you're going to send something out, I will definitely check into it. So.
Yeah, I'm currently trying logo. That's the word. Thank you, El. I don't know why. I forgot. I'm old. I'm 55. But logo. We don't have a logo for Big Geek Emporium because I'm bad at art. Anyway.
Yeah.
Yes, I am trying to get better at the email for Big Geek Emporium and for Biggest Geekus. I'm trying to get it all integrated into a single email program. And I've been fighting with my email program because I give it all the right information, and it still says it's not connecting. I've got Outlook. And that might be the problem. So I
When
might have to look at something
When
else.
Joe gets that figured out, I'll talk to him about it. But I'll be happy to be the email checker if he needs it. Anything take the load off Joe's shoulders. He's doing a lot of heavy lifting, so I want to help him out. So once he gets that figured out and it's easy to access, I'll make myself check it every week while I write the outline. So I'll be a good boy and do that. I can check him.
Yeah, Big Geek Emporium it's more like it needs to be daily.
Sure. Okay. All right.
So
we have
we did.
All right. We have an email for Biggest Geekest Podcast, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
The Geeks at biggestgeekestpodcast.com.
Right. I'll start checking it. Yeah, so we're going to try shall we try this new segment, you think?
Let's flip it over to, we are going to engage the chat more directly and ask a question.
Yes.
The question being, what makes for a good gaming convention? So I believe this came to mind because we're trying to start our own.
Absolutely. So, I'll talk about it more later, but I'm pretty sure I'm not going to say it yet. I'm feeling like I've got a place. So anyway, what makes a good one? What things you go to a gaming convention, folks? Just spit out there. What makes it good? And so I guess I would like it focused more towards smaller cons because we can't do a Gen Con type thing. We're not going to have special guests that are in the movies and things like that. But
at this point, I don't want any of them.
No, I think
there's very few of them I really want to have.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Massive question, says Flady. Yeah, just give us one or two things that you think really hates. What really makes a game good? L says liberal use of soap. I agree, brother. No doubt.
Well, I think we're going to be okay with that because one of the problems with the giant conventions is the massive amount of people, and the massive amount of people means there's more people that are hygienically challenged, and they concentrate. Normalcy.
Yeah, so I assume that could be a serious statement. So we're talking no masks. Don't worry, we're not doing that.
Also, we're not going to have a bunch of mostly naked cosplayers running around.
Yeah, sorry if you're that.
It's kind of weird. We're playing games. We're not. I mean, it's kind of weird.
Yeah.
Cosplaying is all right. I mean, if you want to come if you want to come in costume or dressed as your favorite superhero or whatever, that's fine. Hopefully they have clothes on.
Yeah. We're not planning. I'll tell you right now, guys. Cal says his local gaming convention still require proof of COVID vaccinations next year. Yeah, no, that's not going to happen.
No.
I'll be honest with you. I would tell Joe if that became a thing in our state, I would probably bounce the idea of the con. I would not want to run it. I'm not interested in having to mask, and I'm not interested in knowing anybody's medical history at all. No interest at all.
So if we can't find a venue that won't normal venue like a conference, like a hotel or some other place that has a building and all that, we will have to make it smaller and do it in a pole barn or some other kind of alternative venue that we can still get together, play games, and no one's going to tell us what to do. And the good thing is kind of good thing is we're in Michigan, and our legislature kind of yoinked our governor's insistence on an emergency away from her, even after it wasn't an emergency, if it ever was. So we don't have that issue. So the only places that are still insisting here on masking are doctors' offices and hospitals. And then there's probably the odd place that they have decided to still mask, but I haven't run across it that's not a dentist or not a doctor's office or hospital. So that probably will not be an issue here. So, and I really don't think degeneracy, just give it a broad brush, is going to be an issue either, because of the crowd that will watch us and listen to us are probably not in that group, right? I don't think so.
No. Yeah, I think to dig down a little deeper, then, what do you think about session? We're not called now. I'm lost for a word now. What do we call it when we have sessions? How I used to set up Cabin Con and everybody thought I was going crazy. Not sessions. What were they called?
Slots.
So your game slots. What do you guys think? 2 to 4 hours? Do you have a preference? Would you like to see a bunch of short games? That we can do that. We've done that before.
I mean, that if Lady says it'd be like a large scale Cabin Con, essentially, because we're not even sure if we're going to have vendors, because not in the traditional sense.
I don't think so. Patrick, this is good. I think mustering is a must. I think mustering would be great, where we gather together and people go play games. I think it could be big enough where that would be useful.
Depends on how many we have. If we have a couple hundred people, expecting everybody to be in one spot is probably not great.
No, I'm thinking we're going to have a central registration area where you can see where the games are. If we get it done in time, we might have a little booklet to pass out when you show up to know when the games are. It'll be very inexpensive in terms of not a fancy booklet. Powder Puff says that the time of year is too cold, too hot, could be challenging. Too hot won't be an issue.
And he's the same way here. Man of War, essentially the same thing. Man of War and Powder Puff Nerd are on the same sheet of music, but we're going to be in climate controlled building, most likely.
Yeah, most likely. I can't imagine it. But yeah, I don't see a camping option there. Does length of games? I mean, do you just not care and let the GM or whoever do his own thing? I'm going to run a 7-hour board game of Talisman. Be prepared to play 7 hours, or I'm going to run a Earth Dawn game, since Max Leo's not here. Earth Dawn game for 35 minutes. I mean, what's the what
is a typical say Gen Con type slot? I mean, is it 4 hours? We always Iron Man says we always do 4-hour slots, 3 slots in the day. So is that when you say we?
Yeah.
Is that a particular con that you're talking about? I've never been to Gen Con, so I don't know what their slot length is. So I think most people have been to gaming conventions of some sort or another. And you're muted, Randy, just in case you weren't sure. Yeah. I'm pretty sure that's a standard and everybody's used to it. So we might as well just do that.
Yeah.
4-hour slots. So if that's a standard of some sort, it's better to just go through that.
Yeah. So
4 hours.
Yeah. I'm thinking that's probably good. Iron Man's talked about Spartacon. When is that, Iron Man? Is that already passed?
So 4-hour slots. So I think the general. Oh, DM James, welcome. I didn't see you earlier. You might have just walked in or just started commenting. Oppressively hot with 120% humidity, mosquitoes and roaches the size of VWs. Sounds like home. Hopefully none of that will be an issue.
Look at that, Joe. Weather can be a problem, but Iron Man's got a January con in Lansing.
That means cold.
In Lansing.
That means cold, so we don't have to worry about insects.
I think that means we should make a trip, dude. I think Biggest Geekest needs to go to Spartacon if it's possible.
At least for one day.
Yeah, maybe a day trip. Yeah.
And maybe it's going to happen around my birthday on the 24th. That would be cool.
Yeah. Powder Puff says maybe some shorter slots. Absolutely. I think 4 is the standard for a role-playing game slot. But if someone says, hey, I got a game that'll last 2 hours, that's fine. I think that'd be good.
Sure thing. And if we do the standard 4-hour slots and they have a 2-hour game, they might be able to run it twice during the slot.
Yeah. I think it's Arnman says Spartacon, it is historical miniatures only. Oh, sorry, dude, not my bag.
Mm-hmm.
But thanks though. That's cool.
The slot should be set by the game runners if the small. Yeah, you could you could do that. You can make it loose. It all depends on the size. So the bigger it gets, probably the more structure you need. The smaller it is, the less structure you need, especially if everybody knows everybody.
Yeah.
It's not like even in this, we know, yes, I'm an Aquarius. DM James, I am. Even in this situation where we know each other to an extent, it'd be a lot easier for us to show up on the convention day and say what's going on. We may not even need to have set slots that everybody applies to in advance, and we just get there, we mingle for a while, and then divide up into groups. But
I think that'll I think that's if it's
small enough.
If it's VentureCon size from last year, yeah.
But if it's how many did he have?
20. We had 26, 27.
Right, which is CabinCon size, a tiny bit bigger. Yeah. But once we start hitting 50 or so, 100 especially, once we get up to 3 digits, we probably won't be able to do that.
Well, I can't imagine. This first con, I would be floored if we broke 50. I would be. But no, maybe not, because we got a lot of people. I keep forgetting we got a lot of friends and people around here. We'll probably push 50 with people we know around here.
Could. With wives and children.
Yeah, it'll be big. Comparatively, but we can do it. I'm not worried about it. I think I've mostly decided on the place. So with the slot size, normalcy, we're going to be playing games. That's the focus.
That's the other thing. What do you all feel about the con just being about playing games?
Mm-hmm. Well, that's what it's going to be. I mean, that's kind of a non-negotiable because we're not going to. I'm not going. I've talked to people that have held cons, and they said it's not a great. It can be challenging to do. What did you call them? Vendors. L says talk to Venger. I plan to. Once I have the dates, I'm going to talk to Venger and Tinkar. I mean, now Tinkar's not everybody's cup of tea, but I like the dude. He sometimes drives me a little nutty, but I like him well enough. He'd be welcome. So,
sure, why not?
Yeah. Anything else big about a convention? So if we just come down, we have 3 or 4 slots a day. You can pick your games till they fill up and then jump into another one. And we just have people enough games to play. That's probably good enough. Oh.
So Flady says or asks, I'd like to run a Coalition Risk game, or will it all be D&D Fantasy? It's just going to be tabletop RPGs. And you could even bring wargaming. Who cares?
Yeah,
if you could play it on a table, okay, let me qualify that. If it's a in our hobby, it's fair game. Wargaming, role-playing games, any of that stuff. We could even have some board game tables.
One of the folks at the hotel that I'm leaning toward, several of the folks were highly interested, just me mentioning it. I told Joe this. One kid's like, could I play Hero Clicks? I can't find it. I said, dude, bring your Hero Clicks. We got 2 or 3 guys. I used to play it, and if you have enough for me to share, I'll sit down and play Hero Clicks with him. I don't care.
Sure.
If he wants to do it,
there could be even some like Mech Warrior stuff.
Whatever, man. Whatever.
Sure.
Yeah. No.
It's going to be up to the person with the slot.
Yeah.
So as long as it's part of our hobby, it should be fine.
All right. Anything else you can think of that would be
Well, I see a lot of talk about food here.
That's important. Okay.
Right here. I used to be a chef doing banquets, so I don't mind showing up early to do food prep if you'd have to resort to that. So yes, so food. So would we just tell people to go get their own food, or would we cater, or if it's small and intimate, we could. Well, the out-of-town folks wouldn't fair to ask them to bring a dish to pass for or anything like that, because it would just be extra baggage for them. But
man, dude, you dog. Just like marriage, it's up to the person with the slot. You dog. Oh man, yeah. Food is going to be right now. I'm picturing it because I'm leaning toward the hotel that's real close to downtown Saginaw. Not downtown, over by the mall and stuff. There's a lot of good food places there, and in fact, it's attached to an Uno's, and that's a pizza joint. So that food would mostly be on people. If we wanted to, maybe as an inaugural breakfast first day event, if we have enough people, we might get some of the ladies here who cook, or maybe some of the guys who cook. Heck, maybe Flatey would help us out, get here early, and he'd make something. We might have a first day, share with everybody. Yeah, that could be possible. But I think day in, day out, food's on your own, man. But we definitely should get together during dinner time. We should all hang out and eat together, and if we can.
Okay. We're food guys.
Yeah, we are. You can't tell.
It's possible. Yeah, it's possible that we could differentiate from the other cons.
Okay.
Food in a food direction.
Okay.
So that perhaps there's a buffet there that maybe we could cater a buffet, and people don't have to leave for food unless they want to. It would. I would. To be honest, though, if we did that, the tickets would be more.
Yeah, that's the price. So if we do food, Big Geek Feast, says Patrick Demo. That's a cool name. We'd have to. I'll bounce that around. I'm getting ready to finish up my tabletop events thing. Thank you again, David Gow. He sent me a little little PDF of how to do that, and I've got that started. I'm going to fill that out and see how that works. I'll send out. I'll get the numbers calculated. We're leaning toward 2 days. Big fat.
Yeah, that's funny. My big fat geek feast.
Dude, that's too good.
Having it just seems to go well with kind of the way we are. We like to eat, but also kind of the Greek Roman kind of stereotypical. I don't want it to become a vomitarium, but just the buffet type thing. This sounds like a no-brainer.
It does. That sounds good. I think we may have to pull the big fat geek feast in here. We'll figure it out. I think that's
if we can find somebody that would cater for a reasonable charge. It may be something we could absorb within the ticket sales, right, without necessarily having to drive up the cost.
Right.
It would togas.
I'd wear one. Ain't nothing sexy about that.
No.
Oh, dude. All right. I think that's pretty good. Food's getting people off track here, but yeah, I think that's I think we got a good feel. Nobody seems too. I'm not shocked. I knew our people would be cool. So, yeah. Oh, Tim Scott, true. The feast could be an add-on. You pay a little extra, and you get to have the feast.
But then there would have to be some sort of buffet wrangler who checks tickets, or we give you a wrist strap or a stamp on the side of your hand, and someone checks that or not. So it would be if we made it part of the ticket or an option. If you made it an option, then we'd have to manage the attendance of the buffet. So it would be easier just to make it, here's a buffet, it's part of the ticket, than having to figure out who's authorized to use it or not.
Yeah. Okay. It sounds like I knew they would be totally easy to get along with. So yeah, I didn't hear anything that sounded like a crazy request. So we're going to try to have we're going to play games. It's about gaming. I think food, Joe's made a good point. Food may have to be a part of this, or at least, as Tim Scott said, optionally. then we'll go from there. Patrick mentioned you could have
different colored badges. Yeah, that might be an easy way.
Yeah. We'll work on that. So I got to get the place nailed down, and then I'll get the tabletop event set up. I'll tell you guys the prices, and you can go to the website. We're going to need people to sign up early because I'm not going to put all this money out and then nobody comes. I haven't talked to Joe yet about how we're going to do the money, but I got a feeling that it's probably going to be if you sign up, if you pay, you've paid. So hope you can go. So I'm not
sure. Right. I think if there's going to be a refund, it'll have to be within like 60 or 90 days at the top.
Yes.
But once the dates are locked in and it's like within a couple of months and it's paid for, you've paid. And yeah. So, and that's, I don't know what is this. I don't want to seem like a butthead, but what's the standard on that for these kinds of things?
Well, I mean, for a convention in general?
Yeah.
Well, I can tell you what I paid for VentureCon. It was $100.
Mm-hmm.
That was for 3 days.
No, not the standard amount, but the standard as far as refunds.
Yeah. I think Venture had refunds for like a month or two. He had a cutoff date where it ended. So we'll have to do this.
I remember hearing that cutoff date for refunds a bit. So that's probably
Darth, when you can, as soon as I nail down the place. I've been waffling between two places. I think I've committed. I want to talk to Joe off air, see if he likes my decision. And if he does, we'll go with it. If he doesn't, we're still going with it. So
So talking to me about it is just, fluff.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right. And, if we can nail down a time and a place early enough and get enough interest, then, and we'll have known interest by having early signups. So if we raise enough money just through early signups, then we can be sure of how many and all of that.
And then I can put the money down. I won't feel bad about it. Look, this many people, this will cover one day for sure. Then I'll just go ahead and do it, and we'll wait and see what happens. I know that the place, we'll see. I got to talk about it. I can't say for sure, Darth, but it's got to be soon. I got to quit screwing around. This has got to happen. So, yeah. Okay. I think it's probably good enough for that. What do you think, Joe?
Sure thing. And hopefully, later on, if people listen to this, you folks who are in just audio land, if you have suggestions or things that you think will make a good convention, you can email us, thegeeks@biggestgeekispodcast.com, or you can come by the video here, leave some comments, and that could help us. We want this to be fun.
Yes.
And I mean, honestly, if it's just about gaming and you're not having fun, that's probably your fault.
That's a you problem. You don't like the game then. And dude, if you're hanging out with me and Joe and our boys up here in Michigan, you're gonna have fun. We're gonna have fun.
Yeah, I mean, at the moment, I don't know that we're going to. I've never been to Gen Con, so I don't know what they do to dress the place up.
Oh, they have. Joe, first of all, it's massive.
Right.
There is no comparison at all to Gen Con. I mean, that's the event of events. They have all kinds of crap. Look at Malachi. He knows the truth.
He's trying to get a discount.
He's barking up the right tree with that. Just hanging out with me is going to be loads of fun. It's going to be. We're going to have a blast. Can't wait to see you. It's going to be fun.
All right. So that is that. What we are going to try to do now and again is have a segment where we can just talk to the chat.
Yeah.
Get some ideas, see what you think.
Yep.
And you guys did not disappoint.
No, you did not. They never do. They are fun folks. Lots of good stuff to say. Sometimes bad stuff too, but that's okay. We don't mind.
Right. All right. So this is about the time, yes, as we're over the 2-hour mark, this is about the time when we're going to be saying our goodbyes. Mm-hmm. And generally speaking, when we say our goodbyes, and we do our little outro thingy that we do, we usually screw it up pretty bad. Either if I'm trying to do it while I'm trying to finagle all these buttons and stuff here, there's all these buttons, 2 or 3 little buttons here that try to make things work right.
Yeah.
I'm looking at 2 different things at the same time, and it doesn't work very well. So I am trying to pare it down to the bare minimum of an outro. So what I'm going to start with is, if you haven't seen this enough or heard this enough, well, here's it again. Subscribe to our show wherever you are at, or follow, depending on the app or the service you are seeing or hearing this particular episode. Also, like, subscribe, and share. Tell your buddies about us. There will be a lot of links in the description. In the interest of not making people crazy, we're just going to tell you there's links to follow us. There's links to find us in different on different platforms to support us. Most recent one is Ko-Fi. And just search for Biggest Geekus on Ko-Fi. You will see us there, and we will be adding. A word that I can't remember off the top of my head. We will be adding Subscribe Star very soon, and we will be on Rumble very soon. I have an account over there. I just haven't started posting our videos. Yes, if you can't be big like us, be boomers like us. Thank you, El.
That's pretty accurate.
Yeah. Well, in any event.
Oh, Joe, Malachi, quick question. You going to be unbanned from Twitter?
Okay, so Twitter. We are on Twitter. Oh, that's subscribe. We are on Twitter at Big Geek Emporium, because Biggest Geekus got suspended because I used the word tard. And apparently that's on the no-no list. Apparently. So when Elon Musk finally bought it, I said, hey, and I added Elon and said, hey, I just said tard. It's not that big of a deal. Can you restore the account? And no response, obviously. And since then, Elon's outward, take on the Twitter platform has changed 2 or 3 times. So who knows if he's going to restore it? He's using. I listened to a talk he and one of his financial partners had with shareholders and some other group, and they mentioned Twitter and where he wants to go with it, and he used all of the language that the left uses, as far as, we don't want hateful speech on there and blah, blah, blah. And so, he said that, and also he loves free speech. So which one? Free speech means there's objectionable speech as well. So who knows?
Okay.
Who knows if it's going to get reinstated? He might not like the tard word, and if he doesn't, it won't come back. And yes, exactly. Don't, Mr. Max Boivin, don't get your hopes up for Elon. He's already dealing with the ADO. Yeah, he's already set up his own little trust and safety. He doesn't call it that, but it's the same kind of thing.
What's the
where
ADO?
They Anti-Defamation League.
Oh, okay.
And he said things like, we have done everything we can to pacify the activists. So they're doing what they want. So it's just, Elon is not going to be the savior a lot of people made him out to be.
No,
so
he leans left anyway.
But it's still early days.
Yep.
He could easily pivot.
Mm-hmm.
There's no telling what's going to happen. So don't hold your breath.
Yeah.
So, you got anything else?
Well, I guess we're going to pass through the last couple of segments I listed then.
Oh, hold on.
More?
So we had. Oh yeah. Hold on.
Want to push? We could push.
Cabin Con moment.
Short, sweet. You want to talk about it?
Go for it.
Yeah. So Cabin Con, the 19th, Mr. Patrick Demo, who was on here. Now, this is not Cabin Con again. Let's clarify. This is not Big Geek Con. This is the thing we do up here up north with our homies. We're having our, I loved how Patrick phrased it on Facebook. November 19th, we're having a Cabin Con cult mixer and barbecue. So I put what's on the menu. So I'm bringing my games. I'm going to toss out. I would encourage all my Cabin Con dudes to do the same, so we can discuss and find out what we're going to do. Maybe what the theme is going to be. I don't know if Patrick will. I think he told us once before, but if he has I think is he doing the? No, I don't remember. He'll have to tell us if he's got a theme yet. Don't say it on here. Tell us on the 19th. But we get together. We talk about the business. I just got the information from the lady that owns the cabins, how much it's going to cost. It has gone up again. No surprise. We really can't be surprised. I mean, it's not her fault. It's the truth of things. Mm-hmm. And so it's going to be a little more expensive this year. So I will bring that up. But this meeting is, we do this every year. We call it our business meeting. Almost no business goes on. We just eat food, surprise, surprise, talk bullcrap, talk gaming, and say, what you running? What you running? Cool, can't wait. Good night, guys. See you later. We tend to spend 3-4 hours bullshitting, so it's pretty fun. So that's it. That's Cabin Con coming. You Cabin Con guys, please try to come ready with some ideas to see if we're all gonna. Sometimes we do a theme. Like one year we had a science fiction-y theme. One year we had a superhero theme. And I don't know if we're going to have one this year. We'll talk about it when we get there. So anyway, that was it.
Okay. Random Geekitude, we have our report from Big Geek Land. There's not a lot to report except what I've already said about Subscribe Star. I've posted over in Gab and Getter. If there's another social media platform you guys think I should be on or we should be on, let me know. I will post there again. I'll post there as well. And I'm looking for a way to automate it because it's kind of tedious to post to 50 million different places, and especially with Twitter going whatever direction it's going. I want some decent alternatives. As far as other updates, I'm looking a lot more closely at upgrading Big Geek Emporium to a virtual private server and getting off of a shared server because we're still having problems because of that. And we've already talked about Big Geek Con.
Yeah. And my adventure is still sitting in the wings, waiting for him to get his crap done. David Guile, hoping I'll get my stuff together so he can see what his comments have produced.
This is more of a Joe question than a Randy question.
Yeah, but thanks. I wish I did.
Because I'm running the store. Randy's just the talent.
He got it right.
I do all the Sherpa work. Old TSR stuff, almost no chance, unless we pirate it, which will shut the store down fairly soon afterwards.
Yeah.
OSE stuff is more likely, if I can get anybody's attention.
Comment, Joe. My adventure will be OSE compatible.
Right, OSE compatible. So let's say, but as far as getting, say, Old School Essentials itself, the likelihood is small unless we can get somebody on board that's important.
Right.
So if we can get somebody to buy in, and I love the folks that have already put stuff up. We have some OSE compatible stuff. And we actually have some 5e compatible stuff up as well. But if we have a big or big-ish player in our hobby come by and say, hey, yeah, we will do this, then that would probably be the catalyst for other people buying in. And I don't see any of them buying in until we upgrade, because the site's basic. Yeah. And has some issues because we're on a shared server. Once we get off of that, then I think more people may be interested.
Yeah.
Right. Get in touch with Troll Lord Games.
On the list.
Right. So, yes. Yeah. Yes, that's precisely what that means, El.
You figured this out.
Yeah.
Guilty.
Yeah. There's some 5e compatible stuff on there. That, by definition, means we're woke. So that means everybody will join us now.
Yep. Sweet. We should be good. We're making money hand over fist.
I've already said it. I don't care who posts their material.
Nope.
Whatever material, doesn't matter.
Nope.
As long as it's hobby related and isn't illegal, don't care.
Yep.
So yes, and I think that we're done. No. We have this thing about WotC.
Yeah. Do you want to tackle this? I don't think it'll get too long, but it might.
No. WotC had a huge drop in the third quarter of 2020 too. Yep. As far let's see, what were the exact numbers? Like a 40 or 60%.
Yeah, it says $60 million decline.
60 million. Yeah.
60 million, a 16% drop in total revenue. Let's see what else. 47 Hasbro saw a 47% decline, 31% when adjusted in operating profit. And yeah, it's going to be interesting. I think Professor DM did a video on this, and I thought it was.
We'll have a link.
Yep, probably pretty good. We'll put the link in there.
I actually watched this one.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. I thought he was fairly accurate.
It wasn't bad, and I agree. Just in brief,
yep.
He says it's a post-COVID slump, like a lot of other companies experience, which makes sense. And they're one DnD like kind of tell. They have like in poker a tell that they're heading in the digital direction, and there's some dissatisfaction with regard to that.
Dude, that's the same thing that happened at the end of third when they announced fourth, when they announced fifth. Fourth edition went in the tank. I mean, it's a dangerous thing to announce too early. They are doing poorly. I wouldn't count on it to continue, Mr. Max Boivin, MTG, Magic the Gathering, and D&D. I heard the Magic the Gathering thing was due to their payout to Warhammer. Their Warhammer thing cost them some money. So I think that's part of the issue. I'm not too excited. I mean, honestly, you guys know I secretly hope that, D&D just goes right in the tank and Hasbro sells it, but that'll never happen. They'll keep it for the IP.
Right. And announcing a new edition means people will not buy until the new edition.
Yeah.
Some people will not. And some of us aren't going to buy their stuff anyway.
And Cal makes a good point. Not surprised. Current economics. Yeah. People aren't spending that kind of money. We're not stuck in our houses anymore.
Yeah. And that might be part of it as well. So, and that's not something that Professor DM mentioned, but the overall economic slump could be affecting them as well. So it's hard. It would be very difficult to tease that out from the general inflation and economics of the time.
Right.
It might, if you had a graph and compare the two, they might segue, right? Or they might be very comparable. But we don't have that. So
and when one
it would be interesting.
When one D&D comes out, it'll have a huge bust. It'll a huge boom initially, like all of them. It'll be big sales initially, and we'll see how it lasts after a couple of years. It'll be a different experience, a lot of online stuff. So who knows? I think one D&D might be a different animal than the other editions. We'll see.
Okay, Mr. Max. YouTube is so dumb. Are you trying to get us kicked out of this place? I agree, though.
Yeah,
that's funny.
Yeah, YouTube's not woke enough for us. That's the problem.
Yeah, not woke enough. We need more wokeness.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else from you?
Nothing from the peanut gallery, I think, and that's me.
All right. I gotta line some stuff up here.
Thanks, guys, for showing up tonight. You guys were so fun. I love the way you guys participate so much. I almost don't need that spotlight time, but it's great to have them.
If it gets too much more, we're going to have to hire somebody.
I know. These guys are like, idea. So.
No, just to manage the chat.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Right. So If that's all from you,
It is.
then please like, subscribe, and follow, and share this show. We have a bunch of links in the description or in the show notes, depending on how you are consuming this show, where we are out there in the internet, and how you can support us if you choose to. Brand new are Ko-Fi and soon to come Subscribe Star. So we have a lot of other things going on as well.
All right.
Our store, Big Geek Emporium. If you want to support us, you can easily go out there and lay some very small amount of dollars for some very cool stuff. We have 4 new products out, and they're all different.
Cool.
I'll do this real quick. We have, we have tactical hex maps, because hexes are better than squares. It's according to the author, chock full of stuff. 28 pages are featuring 30 maps. It also includes a half a gigabyte of bonus materials. So it's good for $10, sounds like to me. There's a modern adventure, a one-shot called The Bank Job. There is an OSR dungeon adventure called Castle Ravir, R-A-V-I-R, however you pronounce that.
Right.
And then OGDM has another Minions pack out with 10 new minions. Let's see, does he have a theme here? Goblins and kobolds. New minions and 20 new chaotic ways they can make those pesky heroes' lives harder. So go and check that stuff out.
Yeah, and David Gall, when I get your POD, print on demand copy of Dungeons and Delvers, I will be showing off how it came out for everybody, how our print on demand is doing, and I may do a little review. I'm already reading it, the PDF, so I may give it the good solid once over on one of these episodes soon.
Alrighty then. All right.
Good, but I don't know what he means by Max says Randy's a math teacher. He should know that hex are better is BS. Are we talking about hexadecimal? I'm not sure what we're talking about. So, yeah, I don't know what that hex are better. I'm not sure what that means, but I'm sure it's something.
Well, I said hexes are better for maps.
For
battle maps.
Right. I do like them better. So
it might just be aesthetic, but I think that they are better than squares.
Yeah. Yeah. Squares are easy to draw on, but they don't look as realistic, and hexes can look a little better, the drawings. And when I say hexagons, yeah. Okay. Yeah, I lean toward hexes. So it's pretty cool. Isometric is better, yeah, but good luck drawing those all the time.
Actually, better is not having either and just using a ruler.
Better is not even using rulers and doing all theater of the mind.
Theater of the mind.
I'm describing in utter perfection because I'm so good of a dungeon master. So yeah, that's what it is. All right, man. Cool.
All right. So this is Joe.
And I'm Randy.
And remember, if you can't be big like us, then be geeks like us.